hope you are having a wonderful event here and you are making most out of it. So today we will show that how you can create a mobile application with Sitecore XM Cloud and CDP for data and personalization. So out of curiosity, how many of you have tried to expose XM Cloud content for mobile application? Anyone? Awesome. Yeah, awesome. So I hope you will find something interesting from this presentation. Yeah. So first, let me start with our introduction. I am Purvi, mobile tech lead at Horizontal Digital Vadodara. I have around 10 plus years of experience and I have developed 15 plus meal to enterprise level mobile applications across multiple domains, right? So throughout this presentation, I will cover up the insights from mobile world, and my co-speaker Nelson will cover up the Sitecore part, and we'll try to connect the dots, right? Nelson.
Hey all, good afternoon everyone. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day today. I'm really excited to be here and I'm looking forward to share this session with you all. I hope this session will be interesting for every one of us. Okay. Before getting started, let me introduce myself. I'm Nelson, Senior Solution Architect from Horizontal Dubai. I'm a Sitecore Technology MBA, having some years of experience in Sitecore with Flutter.
Yeah. So let's start by looking at the agenda for today. So first we'll show the glimpse of the mobile application that we have created with XM Cloud as a backend. Then we'll show the overall architecture of that implementation. Then we'll cover up in detail about GraphQL with XM Cloud. Then we'll show that how mobile app can connect with this, right? Then we'll show the dynamic content that we have implemented for mobile application. We'll show the demo for the same. We will show the personalization and demo for the same, and at the end we'll cover the benefits of it, right? Just to give a background that for mobile we are having a different platforms like native Android and iOS, and we are having cross platforms like Flutter and React Native. So with cross platform, you can have a single code base, and with that you can deploy the application to Android and iOS and multiple different platforms, right? So with this application we have developed in Flutter. That is SUGCON 2024 event. I'm just gonna play this glimpse of the application. So the same way that you create the components, pages and everything for web, for this application we have created guest homepage and different components in the site. So there are total 4 components. The first one is the quick link component. The second one is a different category listing, experience category listing component. The third and fourth are the personalized component. Now in the experience, we are having different experience listing like dine, shop, art, wellness, etc. User can scroll through this content. They can check the details. They can check the menu and timings and other details. They can also do search and filter onto this. Each of this component and pages are created in XM Cloud, and these dynamic facets are also set up in XM Cloud. Yeah. So next, let's see the architecture.
Let's dive into the architecture overview of XM Cloud with the mobile application. So we actually created a simpler architecture with the help of 5 important resources which will provide the best content experience to the end user. So the first component is XM Cloud itself. So it will provide all the content related needs for the mobile application, such as like pages, components, renderings, even settings, virtual. So basically, it will also provide static content or dynamic content. All the content needs will be provided from the XM Cloud itself. With the help of XM Cloud, the content has the ability to provide a personalized content to the user with the help of Sitecore pages by creating a variant and having attaching the audience to it. Okay. Apart from that, we actually use predominantly webhook here. So whenever any event is happening in XM Cloud, so that will be notified to our middleware application. So that middleware application will do certain processing. Take an example like we want to have a latest content to be displayed to the mobile devices, right? In that case, like we want to notify that there's something happened, the new content is published in the mobile. So that we will be using this webhook to clearing the cache and providing the latest content to the user. Why are we doing this one? Because like in XM Cloud with the HTTPS application, we already have SSG, which will automatically take care of all the caching and everything, automation and everything. But in terms of mobile devices, which is not possible. We need to do everything from our side itself. So that is the reason we are actually using webhook to do all kind of cascading and provide the exact content to the end user. So now, once the content is ready in the XM flow, now that content will be published to the experience edge. The experience edge is a delivery network where all the content will be accessed through different kind of devices. So how we gonna provide, how we gonna publish the content from XM flow to experience edge? By using experience edge connector. So experience edge connector, which we don't want, for us, we don't want to manually create that one. It will be automatically created for us when we provisioning the environment. Okay, so that is responsible for all our content from XM to experience edge. So the content is available in experience edge. It is easy for us to extract using the GraphQL API. Sitecore also provides certain schema like that we will see later. So once we have all the content available, so we can easily able to extract the content using token. So without authentication, we can't able to retrieve the content from a edge. So we can able to easily create this token using Sitecore Cloud Portal or command line CLI or deploy token. So it is easy for us to do that. So once the content is ready, so now is the responsibility of the API to do all the processing. So we have a middleware here, so that will convert all the user incoming requests and process it to the layout query. That layout query will be executed against the experience edge. So the response we got from experience edge will be converted into relevant JSON structure. Like this will format, it will look into each and every placeholder and look for component details and it will process accordingly, and those information will be transformed to the mobile devices. So before doing that, we actually have CDP and personalize. The responsibility of CDP and personalize is, so whenever the user interacts with the mobile application, all the interactions of the user will be tracked in CDP. So this interaction will be further used for us to do personalized content behavior to the end user. So now, why GraphQL in XM? So most of us have already been using mobile application before XM. Okay, so we used to have like item API and node API to retrieve the content from the Sitecore platform. So the main difference between item API and the GraphQL is in item API, we will be able to retrieve item level information, but not the layout information like placeholders or the component level details. We just want to retrieve only the item level information. But in order to provide all the data or the components to the mobile user, it's responsible for us to provide the specific information to the mobile user. So that is important thing. But Sitecore, in latest example, Sitecore actually implemented the GraphQL to be there. Okay. By default, we can be able to do a different way to query the content from GraphQL using the layout, item search, site search query. That is search query also available. So you could see a small example over here. So this example is basically actually doing a lot of facet search here. So it gives a lot of condition over there. So this is actually training through a lot of multi-list fields over there. So we can do a flexible kind of a search implementation using GraphQL query, and it is easy for us. So you could see there is a certain operators available there, like contains equal to, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. So basically we can be able to do the filtration using date, multi-list field, anything we can do based on these operators which is readily available for us.
So now let's see that how mobile application is connected with this, right? So first let me tell you that Sitecore is also having their mobile SDK, right? But it was a little bit older APK, 8-10 years old SDK, and it is pointing to web API. So it is kind of deprecated. And now with experience as an XM Cloud, we are having GraphQL support, right? So through mobile, there are two ways. For any mobile platform, we can have a GraphQL client at our end, and we can directly query to that XM Cloud and get the JSON in response and render the UI at our end. The other approach is that we can directly call one REST API on a middle layer server, and that server will call a GraphQL query onto Sitecore, and then we'll get the data in return at the mobile end. For the second approach, just assume that we are having different number of integration at the mobile end, and we want to keep the mobile applications lightweight, and we want to do a heavy processing on the middle layer, right? So if you have such a complex or such kind of integration in your requirement, then we can have a second approach. Now, so basically, any mobile application can use any network client or a GraphQL client to do to query the Sitecore XM cloud and get the JSON in response and render the UI. Now, let's connect that what kind of dynamic content that we have covered here. So first, let's assume one use case, right? Your client is giving you a one requirement where you need to have one mobile application, and they are having n number of different modules in the mobile application, and every day they want to push something new onto their homepage, right? They want to highlight some different kind of module on their homepage, right? They want to have different fancy UI for the same components every day. So basically everyday user will feel that there is something new coming up in this mobile application, right? Now, just assume that we are developing these things, right? But for mobile application, we need to go through difficult and lengthy app review process for Android and iOS both, right? For App Store and Play Store. So in this case, the Sitecore XM cloud will be very beneficial. And what we will cover in this dynamic behavior is the three things. First is the dynamic UI, dynamic position, and the dynamic navigation for each of this component. Now, all the magic is in this JSON only. We will focus on three fields here. First is the variant type. So for each Sitecore XM cloud component, we are having different variant type associated with it. So based on that variant type, we can define on the application side that for this variant 1, 2, 3, we can have different three types of UI for this. So based, you can configure this variant type in your XM cloud components, and it will be dynamic accordingly. Say for example, I have a horizontal listing, right? For app cards, I can have a vertical listing based on a different variant type. And this kind of different UI we can have. The second is position, which is pretty straightforward. The same thing we do in websites. We can switch the position of the components, right? And the third one is the CTA action. So here, for each screen of the mobile application, we are setting that screen as a constant in Sitecore settings. The list of all the mobile screens are there in Sitecore settings. Now, for each component, when we are defining, content author is defining the action on that component click, they can choose that on which screen they want to navigate user to. So based on this, we can achieve a dynamic navigation behavior, right? So for this first component, quick link component, we are, say for example, I want to go to web view. So in that case, I have defined that screen name for this particular component, and yeah, it will work at the application. So yes, by this way we can have dynamic UI, dynamic position, and dynamic navigation at the application name, and with these three things. Now, the one other important thing is the ID of it. Now, say for example, in dine list clicking, I need to show the list of all the dine items, right? In that case, I need to have a Sitecore ID for that listing page. So that is also important in this case. Now, this is one approach where we are having the Sitecore components in our application. But for mobile application, say for example, you have different other screens which is not having Sitecore integration. It is, say for example, feedback screen or any other screen where the components are not defined onto the Sitecore side, right? In this, I want to achieve dynamic behavior. My client wants that the title will change. It should not be like anonymous feedback. It should be something else, right? In this case, how we can utilize Sitecore? We can have a Sitecore setting where we will have map of key value, right? For all of these labels, we can have a key value pair, and on the launch of the application, we can retrieve their data in application, and yes, everything will be dynamic for non-Sitecore components as well here. So it will be very useful for us. Apart from that, you can have dynamic configurations, dynamic images loaded from Sitecore as well. So this is the other approach for dynamic content. Now we would like to show you the demo for it. So as we see that this is the application that we have developed, right? First component is a quick link component. What I want is that this component now goes to at the end of the page. For this third personalized component, I want the list should be vertical now. And I also want to change this home to experience, right? So that will cover up three points with us: dynamic UI, dynamic position, and the dynamic labels. Now Nelson will do the magic at the Sitecore end.
Yeah. Let's open Sitecore. So mostly like we would have already used the way to organize the component inside. So like we always used to go with presentation and configuring the items over there. So similar approach we are also taking here. Like we just go to presentation and details where we can have our components available there. Okay, give me a second. So as it was already configured all the components over here, so now it's easy for us to just change their position or the variant. So if you already came from the background of SXA or headless SXA, we already use the variant, runtime variant, where the content will be same, but the way of representing the component will be different for different variant we actually selecting. So in this example, we going to select for this particular component, my variant, I'm going to select change the variant from default to grid stats. So right now, this will behave exactly how it is behaving in the normal XM load world. So now this is purely through GraphQL query, we will be getting all the data from the GraphQL query, and finally we are processing the data from there, and we are sending back the response to the mobile devices. Let me change the position as well.
So now we are making the quick links position to the last. Make it last.
Yes. This is exactly similar how we actually doing in the day-to-day activities like the website. So we actually trying to replicate the exact scenario. So we don't want any different thing to be given to the content authors who are already familiar with the site. So we want to give a similar experience to them. So that is what I'm trying to achieve here. Let me say this one and let it publish. So while publishing is going on, let's try to configure the labels here as Purvi told. So she is actually configuring like different static labels in the application. For example, right now I can go and change this one as SUGCON home SUGCON. So again, like this label will be immediately reflected in the app after it get published. Alright, it's in queue. So good. So everyone aware of publishing thing. So let's keep that going about that in the previous session. So okay.
But I think the first one is published, so let's just see the change on the position.
Awesome.
We are refreshing the page, and now it should, the first component should go to the last place. Yeah, and the horizontal listing is now the vertical listing, and the first component goes to the last. So this way you can have flashy and dynamic ad for your users, right? So user can see the new things every day by this way, right? Now let me go back to presentation. Now we'll start with the personalization thing. So here we have covered two types of personalization: user location based personalization and behavior based personalization. So from mobile end for location, we are just passing latitude and longitude to backend, and they are doing the magic on the backend side to give us a personalized data. So how we have implemented here is that for Bangalore location, it will show the top blocks. Or we are targeting the third component to show the personalized location-based data, right? So if I change the location to Bangalore, it will show top blocks. If I make it Kerala, then it will show top 9 items like this, right? And the second is a user behavior based personalization, where we all know that whichever pages user visits more, right? Based on that, it will show the related content on that component. So we have targeted the fourth component to show the user behavior based personalization, right? So for making things easy, I have recorded this demo, right? Because in Android Simulator, it is having facility to change the location. So now I am changing the location to Bangalore and setting this position. Now we are targeting the third component. So the third component should show the blocks. And I'm refreshing the page, and yes, it is showing the top blocks of for this location. Now, if I change the location to Kerala, it will show the top 9 items. So we have targeted third component, and we are having personalized location-based personalization achieved on this third component. Now, for the fourth component, let me show the user behavior-based personalization. So if I visit the same restaurant page multiple times, here I am visiting gazebo multiple times, right? Yeah. In that case, I have targeted that this gazebo will be visited 3 times and the other restaurant, Boca, is visited 2 times. So in that sequence, it will appear on the fourth component. Now, I'll refresh the page, and then you can see the fourth component. Yes, it is showing the top visited places. So this is the user behavior based personalization that we all know, right? Now, Nelson will show that what actually the magic is happening in the backend. It is a heavy work in the backend for the personalization thing. Yeah, Nelson.
Alright. So let's get started with the personalization demo here. So let's take a scenario that Puri just told. Like we will try to create a content which will be personalized based on the user-based location. So by default, XM Cloud out-of-the-box providing the experience using Sitecore CMS by creating the audience, right? So we will try to replicate that one. In this demo, I actually created a single page with one component, which is image title component. So we will try to see how the component behaves based on different location. So we will try to replicate that one. So let me go there. Okay. I have already created this page here. So right now you can see this page shows banner and the component which is available here. This is our image title component. Okay, we will try to process this component. By default, this component assigned to some data source. Okay, any user from anywhere, any part of the world who are accessing this particular page will always see the same data, irrespective of their location. But we are trying to personalize this data. So how we going to do that? So if you could see the left side, there is a personalized tab. So when you click on the personalized tab, so by default we have a default variant. This is what out of the box is created. But we want to create it's a personalized one. But you guys wondering why this component is in orange color? Why there is no UI paint? Right? We purposely made this one. So this component is mainly dedicated for our mobile application. Okay, so if you want to share your component to the website as well, then we can be able to create our React app, React app with component .tsx file, and you can have the rendering was published, and you can get the component ready available in website as well as the mobile device. But for us, the mobile devices, we are not looking into UI, we are just grabbing the data from the experience stage. But for mobile device, the website is slightly different, where we will be creating our UI aspect, right? But for us, data matters. So that's where the reason, like if you want to share, we can go ahead with that approach. If you don't want to share, if you only targeting your mobile application, then you can directly go with this approach as well. Okay, so that's the reason we have this one. So now we have, I have already created a set of variants here, which is Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, and Mumbai. So let's see how it has been created. Alright, let's edit this one. So now I'm trying to target my audience from Bangalore or any part of Karnataka to be the personalized content, the data source which I actually assigned to the component there. Okay, please. Good. Now this is build mode. So you could see there, I'm actually targeting a visitor who is coming from Karnataka. So the content which I actually add to the data source will be displayed to the user. Let me show that. Hello. Yeah. Let me create a new variant to show that in action. So let me create some country like Kerala. Now this will open us to have a audience tool. So basically, by default, when you're creating a variant, it will not automatically work. We need to assign some condition to it. So that is the condition we just saw, like how I'm assigning command state to that. So similarly, we can assign a condition, especially matching for car audience. So when you click on creating the audience, so this dashboard will show for us. And from here, we have two options available. One is custom, one is out of the box. So by default, many of the users will not see the custom options. That is because our XM code environment doesn't connect with the CDP portal. So if you have the connected experience with the XM code and the CDP, then you can be able to have this custom option. But if you don't have the custom option, if you don't connect it with your CDP portal, then you don't see that one. So by default, out of the box, Sitecore provided a lot of conditions to us. We can use for our requirement, but specifically for this particular requirement, there is no such rule. So we have to create our own rule here. So I have created a rule for that. So the creation of rule is very easy. Thus we can just go to a CDP portal and we can clone any existing out of the box rule. In that rule, we can easily be able to customize it. So let me show that in action. So this is the rule which I actually created here. So this is exactly how we actually created the rule. So let me show that here. Out of the box, I just used country as my base. From the country, I just opened the country because if you take a look at the country very closely, it is also having a string which is enum. Basically, it shows all country options available to the end user to assign it. So they either India, Pakistan, any different country. So any request comes from different country, they easily able to target it. So similarly, our requirement is target different states, whether it's from Karnataka, from Tamil Nadu, or any state. So that is where we want to target. So you just go here and click and duplicate this one, so we can easily able to clone it or duplicate our custom conditions. So once the condition is ready, I just modified few changes to the existing one. So if you could see our custom condition. So this is my custom condition. As you could see, this is very basic and simple. So what I am doing here, basically I am trying to retrieve the user location, which is like request.parameter.location. That is the parameter what we want to get it from the API. Okay. So whenever mobile device sends an IP address, that IP address we will try to convert that into the address. From the address we will try to fetch the state, and that state we will try to pass it over here. And we are trying to match the state with the state string. What is the state string? That is what our condition which we assign to the rules. So this is exactly what I'm talking here. So we actually this is the exact thing. It matches to the state string. Okay. So once this condition met, whatever the data source component which we assign to the component will be executed, and the relevant content will be displayed to the end user through the help of middleware after processing it to a relevant JSON. Okay. So now we have the content. We have configured everything in Sitecore XM code, and the relevant data is available. So now, how to execute this one? Because now we have everything ready. But with this configuration, nothing will happen by default. But if you guys work with XM code with Next.js application, everything will work automatically. Okay, because in Next.js application they are actually using personalize add-on. The responsibility of personalize add-on is to query the CDP portal, okay, and execute this experience. So this experience is called as interactive full stack experience. So they will execute the experience and get the relevant variant. So basically, variant is what we talked about Kava, and mobile. So each and every condition or every variant will be given as a response in the Next.js application, and it will process it and it will provide the relevant web pages to the end user. But for us, we need to do everything manually. So how we want to do that? First and important thing is we need to understand what is the friendly ID for this interactive full stack experience. Okay, but this particular page which I am showing right now, it is not available directly. So something we need to manually type it, because for few customers this page will be available by default. For few other customers we need to manually code this page. So the URL might be this one. So pages, if you go to www.page-experience, that is the exact URL when you want to see this out of the box created interactive full stack experience. Okay, so now we have this interactive full stack experience. This is the one which we just created. Okay, so let me go here. So as you can see, like we have, so what are we creating in XM node, it will be automatically reflecting in the CDP portal. Okay, so we have Karnataka. Let me open the Karnataka code here. So you could see like what are configuring XM flow, which is actually displaying over here. So each and everything have a audience assigned to it, and based on that, like our data will be processed. Okay. Now we have this information. Now how to execute it? With the help of this friendly ID. So this is our friendly ID. In order to execute this interactive full stack experience, we will be calling a call force API. So the call force API requires this friendly ID. If we execute this one, that will provide us a variant ID. Using the variant ID, we will be extracting information from. Okay. Now we have this information ready. Now let's go to the actual GraphQL query. Okay. So now this is our GraphQL query. So whenever we try to execute our whenever we try to execute our page using the layer query, by default we will be getting all the audience which is created for the particular page will be displayed in the GraphQL. Okay. So now we previous step we are the variant ID. Now our job, our middleware job is responsible for the middleware is to retrieve the variant ID and get the information from this layout from the GraphQL. So let me take you to that test now. So we are actually talking about the image title component. So as you can see, we have an image title component over here. So we have an experience section. This experience section is what matters. Okay, this is experience section. Whatever the audience we actually creating in Excel code pages, this experience section will be created for the particular component. Okay, so this experience section will not available for all the components. This will be only available for the component which we did created the audience. So now we have already created the audience over. So now you can see there is we have three like Mumbai, Karnataka, Bangalore, whatever we just showed now. So those are the three variants available over there. So if I open any one of the variant, so you could see like let me open this again. Alright. Okay. Hello, Bangalore. So this is our process component. So now we have this data to using GraphQL. Okay. Now basically now we have everything ready. Now let's see how we gonna call this one using Postman to show a sample. Okay. I have already created a Postman collection for this one. So in the previous demo I just showed you like I actually passing a Karnataka as my location. So this location is basically I'm retrieving it from the IP address which the mobile device is sharing to me. So now I have Karnataka and the friendly ID which I just mentioned in the previous slides. So when I execute that one, it will provide me the variant ID. If you see this variant ID should be available in here. So that variant ID matches that ID. So our middleware, responsibility of middleware is whenever I get this relevant variant ID, I go to the GraphQL query and retrieve this content and I process it and send the response back to the mobile devices. So based on this one, the mobile devices will get processed content. Okay. Now that concludes my first demo. So now let's see how we gonna target the user behavior-based personalization. Okay. We just talked about text-based personalization, where we use interactive full stack experience, which is out of the box created by Sitecore. Okay. Whenever we create audience tools and everything. But in this scenario, like this audience tool is something we need to create of our own. So because we are not going to create any pages variant there, So whenever we actually any user visiting multiple times a page, so for that condition we have to create an interactive full stack experience here, and you could see there is multiple sections. One is API response and decisioning. So our main decision model, decisioning, or the API response. The API response is something like if you want to provide the proper JSON response to the end user, so that is where you want to configure the API response. Decisioning is where we extract information from the user session and everything, so and process it and look for the latest visited article for like the last 10 days or last 5 days or based on our condition. All our configuration will be happening over there. So let me show you a small thing on that one. The rest of them will be similar, like how we execute the process, everything will be remain same. This is some basic decision model created. So as you can see, we try to extract the information from the session, and we actually created a program where we do our JavaScript logics and everything. So basically, we have all the logics written here. So you could see like we are trying to get like last 10 days record, and I'm just iterating through all the session of the user. And then I'm trying to see like whether this particular category page and what are the pages visit for the particular category, comparing all those things here and there, and finally coming up with the relevant data, and that data will be shown back to the user. We are setting it as an array, so the end of the day we will be getting an array of data, so that's where we are actually showing a cursor in the home page. Alright, so execution of this one is again familiar. So if you go here, so this is an example for that. We actually executed here. So this is exactly what we want to get from the CD portal. Okay. So once we get this information, like we getting an ID and time, which is the category. Once we use this information, we will query the GraphQL again from the experiences to get the relevant data from the Sitecore, like images, content, everything, and that again will process it, send back to the mobile application, and the mobile application does all the UI and UX and finally display to the end user. Thank you. Let's conclude my second presentation.
Yeah, awesome. So I think we have covered a lot many things for our users, right? We have created dynamic application for our users. We don't need to publish every day or more frequently to give a dynamic experience for your user, right? In this case, dynamic content is covered, right? Second point is personalization is covered. Now, what next? What else we can do? Any idea? Okay, so I have something in my mind. We can create a connected experiences for our user with this. Just assume that your guest user or logged in user is using mobile application, right? We are using Stream APIs only for doing personalization with the same browser ID, right? The login user using your website with the same credential, right? This way, the same content will be reflected to your websites, right? This way, we can also create a connected experiences. So due to some limitations of licensing, we were not able to show that demo. But yeah, we can create that experience for our user as well. Yeah, with this, I think we are concluding our presentation. We would like to thank our all the sponsors. Thank you so much. And the floor is open for any questions and answers. If anyone is having.
Which time does it take for you to implement something of this nature from scratch?
Sorry?
How much time does it take for you to implement the entire mobile application and the entire implementation cycle?
Actually, it is completely dependent on your requirements and complexity, right?
Basic mobile app, like the one that you showed.
Okay. Yeah. If I just consider the mobile part, it can take like 2 to 3 weeks. I have not considered the middle layer part, so like in a month or half month, 1.5 months, we can cover both and create such a short time. Anyone else? Okay, if you have any other questions coming up in your mind, we are here only on the floor for these 2 days. We are having horizontal booth here. So let's catch up. And yeah.